Hi, this is Alessio. Hope you're well. In this video, I want to take a look at the chart of Bitcoin, and I want to explain to you where I think we're at right now at this stage in Bitcoin. I want to explain to you the significance of this and also a very important point about technical analysis. You're going to learn a very key point here today about technical analysis, which could very likely help you in your analysis and also in your trading as well. All right, guys, before we take a look at the charts, have a look at this video here. This is my own footage. I shot this video back in 2011 when I was in Florida in the Everglades. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to the Everglades in Florida, but if you have, you probably know that it's quite an exciting but also frightening feeling. You'll see in this footage that I got very close to these alligators in this lake area we were here. And let me tell you, it was a very frightening experience for me because the alligator was so close that the guy who was essentially managing the boat, he was saying, whoa, we got to get out of here because this thing could jump on the boat anytime soon. Anyway, you're probably wondering, well, why am I showing you that footage of the alligator? The thing is, guys, I want to show you today in this video the alligator of the markets, the alligator of the charts. Because if there's one thing that could potentially eat you up alive, it is this, as I'm going to explain to you in this video. So you'll see that so far, after this nice rally here in Bitcoin, all we've been doing now for the last few weeks is a lot of choppy sideways action that you're seeing here. A lot of garbage movements, a lot of just sideways overlapping kind of structure, as you'll see here. Up and down, a bit like Shadow and Stone in the movie Basic Instinct, if you get my meaning. Anyway, so what's going on here? Why is Bitcoin doing all this? Why is it driving us nuts? The reason is this, guys. I want to show you this. So take a look at this chart. As I'm sure you know by now, Elliott wave theory tells us the markets move in the direction of the major trend in 5 waves. It also tells us that markets usually have a correction in 3 sections, often called A, B, C. So a 5-wave move in the trend and a 3-wave move in the correction. Now take a look at this. Usually after a rally, for example, a wave 3 rally like you're seeing here, wave 3 being the most strong, often the most strong and the most dynamic part of the wave, you often get a correction. Again, what's called an ABC wave 4 correction, followed by the wave 5. Wave 5, again, continuing the trend in the final wave before we see a major retracement. So here's the bottom line, guys. Notice that in this scenario, wave 4 is very nice, very lovely, nice ABC simple structure. Guys, if only I could tell you that all wave 4 ABC structures look like this. If only all wave 4 corrections could look like that. The truth is, guys, that some of them don't. Some wave 4 corrections are not as simple as that. They look like this. Yikes! Yeah, exactly. Yikes. In fact, when I see something like this, my immediate gut reaction is a bit like this. Yeah, I don't know who that was. I think it was Betty Davis. But anyway, bottom line is, guys, that in this particular chart examples you're seeing here, this is one of the most ghastly examples of wave 4. Okay, of a wave 4 correction. These are what's called complex corrections. So you have your simple, lovely, beautiful ABC corrections over here. And again, that would be lovely if all of them could look like that, a simple ABC, but actually some of them don't look like this. Wave 4, the correction in wave 4 can often be complex, and it can also be something like this. They can be unpredictable, they can be messy, and with lots and lots of false breakouts and overlaps. In fact, if there is one thing that I would say was a signature of a wave 4, it's lots and lots of overlapping structures. Lots of ups and downs, false breakouts like this, or even like this one over here. I would say this one over here, guys, right over here, this is probably much more close to what we're experiencing right now in Bitcoin. This particular structure you're seeing here. Again, this is a complex correction, but notice what's happening here. After the wave 3 completes, so after we have that nice rally in the wave 3, which is actually much more easier to trade, look what happens over here. You get this very messy, unpredictable, and lots of overlapping structure in this wave 4. For example, notice in a wave 4, sometimes one of the waves, often the B wave, for example, can break above the high of the 3rd wave. That can sometimes happen, by the way. All right, guys. So it is perfectly possible to see lots and lots of false breakouts in a messy, overlapping wave 4 structure. So again, notice what's happening here. Down, up, down, and then false breakout over here, down again. Then this one's a false breakdown. Okay, so you see over here, this time over here, the wave 4 is breaking down. Everyone's thinking, oh, okay, we're going to go down lower, except that's not what happens. It rallies back up. And again, a false breakout here. So guys, I think what we're dealing with here right now in Bitcoin here on this chart is more or less what we're experiencing. Let me go on a 2-day chart of Bitcoin. It's a 2-day chart. Okay. I think this structure we're dealing with on Bitcoin right now is indicative of a wave 4 type complex and messy correction, similar to what you're seeing here on this chart over here. Now, I'm going to explain to you in a few moments how you can tell whether you're dealing with one of these nasty wave 4s. I'll come to this chart in a few seconds, but for now, just focus on this chart. Let's go on a daily chart for a second. You'll see what's happening here, guys. After that nice rally that we saw on Bitcoin here, the wave 3 structure rally, and now all we're getting so far is this nasty sideways movement here, and you can see Bitcoin, all it's been doing is consolidating here in a sideways range-bound structure with lots and lots of overlaps. Down, up, and now slightly up again. And here, in these kind of situations, guys, if you're trying to do technical analysis, you'll find a very frustrating experience. And here's exactly why, guys, a lot of people become frustrated with technical analysis. Because what they do is, let me just explain to you. What they do is they draw their lines. Like, for example, you could draw your lines here, connecting the highs like this, right? And you can draw your triangular formation like this, okay? So you can draw your triangular formation like that. And then, like, for example, here, you see Bitcoin breaking the structure right over here, breaking the pennant triangular formation, going higher, and then everyone thinks, oh, okay, break up the pennant triangular structure, therefore we're going higher. Except Bitcoin doesn't do that, and it drops down. And then what does it do? It then breaks this trend line you're seeing here, if I just continue that. So it breaks that trend line here to the downside, and then reverses, goes back up again. Again, another false breakout. So guys, when you see lots and lots of false breakouts like this, what happens is a lot of the new traders, a lot of the inexperienced traders or analysts, they look at the chart and say, oh, well, there you go. Technical analysis doesn't work. No, it works. What's happening is, what they're forgetting is that they don't know which part of the wave structure they're in, because they're confusing a wave 3 with a wave 4. So yes, it is true. If you're in a wave 3, you can easily trade this. By the way, everyone thinks they're a genius in a wave 3. In a wave 3, guys, anyone can make money. All right, that's the easy part. The hard part is often the end of the wave 5, or usually the wave 4. The wave 4 is the most challenging part, by the way. Now, again, not every wave 4 is going to look like this. Some wave 4s are going to look like this. So, like this over here. So when you're in a wave 4 situation, you're going to be frustrated. You're going to be very angry at the market, at the charts, and you're going to think, wow, nothing works. Except what's happening, guys, is you're seeing lots and lots of overlapping structures like this, and again, false breakouts everywhere. What's happening is you're dealing very likely with a wave 4 structure. And in a wave 4, if you're trading in a market environment like this, you're going to be ripped apart. All right, guys, this, by the way, is the crocodile of the charts. This is what I'm talking about. The crocodile of the charts, guys, the alligators of the charts, if you want to call it that, this is essentially it. This is when essentially a lot of traders get ripped apart because they don't understand the environment they're trading in. All right, guys, a lot of overlapping, messy, unpredictable structures like this is indicative of wave 4. So you're probably wondering, well, what would you do in this situation? Well, I'm going to give you a few suggestions, but I think the best suggestion is to reduce your risk immediately. All right, guys. So always be thinking about risk protection. So again, position sizing, reducing your position size. And also I would just say, wait for a breakout. Wait for the market to eventually show its hand and show which direction it wants to go. In other words, point out your support, point out your resistance, and just wait for the wave 5 breakout. Or indeed, a reversal completely out of the structure. So let me show you this now. This is the chart of Bitcoin from 2018, 2019. Notice we went through a very similar kind of environment last year in 2019. You'll see at the very beginning of 2019, what was happening here. Bitcoin first started a bit of a jump, and then it went through this kind of a very messy, very sideways, choppy, overlapping structure. Now, here's what I suggest you do, which could really help you. Put on your chart an ADX indicator. That's the average directional index. Almost every chart out there will have this. And I just use the standard default setting. The default setting is 14. That's it. So put an average directional index indicator on your chart, setting of 14, and then put a line on the chart at 20. So you want to put a 20 line on the chart. So here's how I use this. Whenever the ADX goes below 20, like you see it did over here, as it says low ADX, okay? Whenever the ADX falls below the 20 region here, that is showing to you a region which is associated, as you'll see I've written down here, it's associated with non-trending, choppy, range-bound, and overlapping price action. All right, guys, so whenever the ADX is below 20, low ADX like this, like you see on my chart, just remember, you're dealing with this kind of environment, non-trending, choppy, range-bound, and overlapping price action, which is often indicative of a corrective market environment, like a wave 2 or a wave 4. especially after a jump or a rally in the market. In this scenario, so that's more indicative of a wave 2 here, because it was immediately after a crash in the market. And after this wave 2 correction completed, we had a wave 3, and a very nice, beautiful wave 3 move here. Notice how much easier it is to trade in a wave 3, like you're seeing here. In this situation, anybody can feel like a genius, right? Because anybody could just get in at any point, right? And they could be making money here. So the bottom line is, guys, as traders and analysts, we always have to look at the charts and ask ourselves, what kind of market environment are we in? Are we in a range-bound overlapping structure like this with low ADX? In which case, we're probably in a corrective structure, or are we in a wave 3 dynamic trending structure like you're seeing here? So always be asking these questions. Always ask yourself, are we likely to be in a wave 3, for example? Wave 3 and a wave 5. Wave 3 and a wave 5 are easier to trade because these are more trending environments. Wave 4, however, can be very difficult to trade or analyze because it's not always very simple like an ABC. Sometimes it can be nasty and brutal like this, like these type of structures, the complex corrections. All right, guys, so I hope this has helped you in some way. And again, I believe right now on Bitcoin, what we're dealing with this overlapping structure you're seeing here on the chart, guys, with lots of messy, choppy, unpredictable, and indeed overlapping structures like you're seeing here, this is more indicative of a wave 4 situation. Again, in these kind of market environments, risk protection and risk limitation is probably the best thing to do. Reduce risk, reduce position size, and indeed wait for a breakout. Wait for a breakout of the range. All right, guys. So that's why a lot of people don't understand that in a wave 4, if you've been trading in this kind of market environment and getting ripped apart, that's the reason, because you're dealing with a low ADX. Let me go on a 2-day chart here. This is a 2-day chart of Bitcoin, and if you just put an ADX here in your chart, you'll see what's happening here. I like to use this on a 2-day chart or an 8-hour chart. Notice ADX has fallen here. Look at this, guys. This is on Bitcoin at the moment. ADX fell below 20 here. So what we're dealing with right now, guys, with this very choppy, messy, potential wave 4 is a low ADX kind of market environment. Okay, ADX below 20, indicative. I believe right now, guys, I believe is a wave 4 correction in Bitcoin, which is good news because it means that potentially we're dealing with another wave 5 coming soon in the next few weeks. Bottom line is that wave 5, the probable wave 5, could take us to our next potential targets. So for me personally, I believe as long as Bitcoin remains above 9,000, I think it's quite likely what we're dealing with here in Bitcoin is a likely wave 4 market structure. All right, guys, I hope this video has helped. Let me just say a couple of more things, which is that we go into much more detail about Bitcoin and crypto charts in our member videos. So make sure you join us on that. All right, guys, thanks very much indeed. I'll see you guys in the next video update. Bye for now.